Howdy virtual campers, welcome to fishing. My name is Bryant Carlton. I am an educator with Kentucky Fish and Wildlife. Before we wet a line, let's talk about the things you're going to need to participate in this activity. When you come to one of our 3 conservation camps, you will participate in an activity called casting and fishing. Let's talk about the casting portion of that activity. There are 3 types of rods that you usually fish with. First, we have a casting rod. This is called a bait casting reel. Engage it with your thumb, a little bit harder to control. This is called a spinning reel, which is on a spinning rod. You will have to grab the line at the bail and hold it with your finger in order to cast. A little bit more difficult, but to keep things simple at camp, we teach you with what's known as a spin casting rod. All you have to do is push the button and release the button to make the reel work. I'm going to demonstrate how this works to keep things consistent with what you learn at camp. To demonstrate how the spin casting rod and reel works, which is what you will use if you come to conservation camp, all you have to do is grab the rod with your dominant hand. I'm right-handed, so I grab it with my right hand. You will wrap your index finger around the trigger and then wrap your hand around the rod. Your thumb will push in on the button to engage the reel. When you let off the button, the plug will drop. Now let's demonstrate the casting motion. You will push your thumb onto the button to engage the reel, and you will hold it. You will then bring the rod back as if you are, say, looking at a clock. If you're looking at the clock, 12, 3, 9, 6. So if I'm looking at the clock, I'm pointing up at 12, and I'm going to bring the rod back, not quite to 3, but I would say right around the 1:30 to 2 o'clock position. While I continue to hold the button, I will then bring my arm forward and release the button at the 12 o'clock position, thus sending the casting plug towards my target. Let's see that again. You will push in on the button and hold it, bring the rod back to about 2 o'clock, take it forward and release at around the 12 o'clock position. Then you will take your other hand, mine being the left hand. I will grab the rod and the reel and then start reeling. When you reel, we're not fighting off, stormtroopers with our lightsabers. We're just keeping our rod pointed in one direction and reeling nice and slowly. One more time. Push in, bring it back to about 2, go forward to about 11, 12 o'clock or so, and release. That's all there is to it. Now let's say you're indoors. It might not be possible to cast like this without breaking Mama's ceiling fan. So we have a sidearm cast. You push in on the button, you take the rod to your side, and you release it. So if you're looking at the clock, this being 12, this being 3, this being 9, we'll reel it in, engage the button, take it to about 2 o'clock, go forward and release it about 12 o'clock. We also have an underhanding casting motion. Push in on the button, bring your rod back, and flip it forward. That style is called flipping and pitching. So we'll do that one more time. Pretending we're looking at the clock. Let's say this is 12, back here is 6, this is 9. You're going to point the rod in front of you, bring it back, and release in the same motion. One method for earning your virtual camp patch at fishing is to accurately cast. We're going to need to see you demonstrate the proper casting mechanics and accurately cast. You decide what you want to cast at. I'm out here at Kentucky Lake. I have a lot of lake to cast at. So we just want to make sure you can cast correctly, whether it's sidearm, whether it's the flipping and pitching, underhand motion, whether you want to go overhand. We want to make sure you can cast correctly. We want to see you reel it in correctly. We don't want, fighting off the stormtroopers. Keep the rod nice and still and reel in nice and easily. Also, with casting, remember, you want a nice smooth motion. So make sure you take it back, engage the reel, go forward, and release. Cast at a trash can, cast at a hula hoop, cast at Barbie's dollhouse in your sister's room. There's many things you can cast at. You don't have to have a lake. We just want to see that you can cast correctly and accurately. The other part of the fishing and casting activity we'd like to demonstrate is fishing. And at our conservation camps, you will generally fish with what's known as a cane pole. Yes, you have the opportunity to cast with a casting rod and reel, and that's generally what you fish with. But because we have so many people on the dock fishing at once, it's much safer to use cane poles during that activity. So we're going to try to show you the proper way to rig up your own cane pole. You don't have to have a cane pole. Just go get a stick, get a broom handle, get anything that is nice and straight that you can tie a line onto. Part of this activity that we want to see is your ability to tie a knot onto that pole and rig up your own pole. So if you don't have the ability to cast, make sure you go get a stick out of the woods, get a broom handle, get something you can tie a line onto to demonstrate how to properly rig up your own cane pole. Now I'm going to show you how to tie a knot onto a hook so you can rig up your own pole. I would now like to demonstrate how you tie a knot onto a hook. I've got line, now I need a hook. Captain?
Lady?
Thank you. I'm going to demonstrate an improved clinch knot. This is a very easy knot to tie. It's very quick and very reliable, very strong. You pass the line through the eye of the hook. You will bring it up, and then you will double it up and hold it with one hand like so. You will then need to twist the hook several times. I would say at least 4 to 5 times. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and there's 5. Then you will take the excess, your tag end, you will bring it down, pass it through the doubled portion, and then pull your line up. You will now have a loop at the top. You will pass the tag end through, and you will have something looking like that. You will then need to moisten it to reduce friction. Just get some good old saliva on it. Yum. And then, while holding both pieces of line, you will slide it down like so. Cinch it, and you're good to go. Make sure you cut that off. All right, on one end of your cane pole, you will need to tie a knot. This one has an eye, so you'll tie the knot into that eye. You will want to get a piece of string about the same length as your pole, cut it off, and then tie a knot onto the hook or whatever object you're going to use to create the cane pole. Your completed cane pole should look like this. You'll have one end of the line tied to the end of the pole, another end of the line tied onto an object such as a casting plug, a hook, Barbie, whatever you want to find. Tie it onto that. Send us some pictures of your completed cane pole. We'd like to see a picture of you tying the knot. We'd also like to see a picture of you holding the cane pole, kind of like so we can see that you rigged it up correctly. In order to get the fishing portion, you will need to either cast correctly or rig up the cane pole for us to view to determine that you know how to rig that up.